My name is Kelly Austin, and I'm here with various members of the community who are very important to South Bend. We want to talk about what it takes to change and rearrange what's going on in the community. I have with me, to my right, your left, Lynn Coleman.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm good, how are you? And I have to my left, your right, Jason Jordan.
There you go.
I know that's right. I'm all right, how are you?
Good.
And then we have to our far left, all the way over there in the corner,
All the way.
Malcolm Coates.
Hello.
So I'm really excited actually to have this conversation. We've talked a lot in preparation for this about what messages we wanted to convey. And I think that each person here has a important part to add to the conversation. We've talked about GVI, we've talked about LTIA, we've talked about the pieces that are important.
Right.
And I think that we need to get across the message to our community,
Right.
so that they feel like the things that are happening are truly for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important.
I will ask you, Lynn, you've been a part of the community and the things that are happening in the community for a long time. And I know the foundation that we used to have very strongly when we talk about the village isn't the village anymore is love, right? We all used to love one another, be really like close.
Right.
So how has that changed over the years that you've seen?
Oh, good question. I don't know if we have enough time for all of that. I think it's changed for a lot of reasons. First of all, I think that we stopped doing or giving those messages to those following behind us years ago. And so for me, I tell people all the time that I think that the problems that we are seeing now are not problems that are just starting to happen now.
Right.
But they're generational issues and problems.
Right.
3 or 4 generations back, early 60s, mid 60s, people stopped getting the messages and living the messages that their parents and or grandparents done.
Right.
You know, we stopped being respectful and kind and supportive and sharing and that kind. We became more, it's your thing. Do what you want to do.
Right,
Can't
right.
nobody tell you what you have to do. And
Right.
You should be able to do whatever you want to do and that kind of thing. And so we stopped giving what we got.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now you've got 2 or 3 generations past where kids didn't get the same messages that our parents gave us.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't get it, I couldn't give it to my kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when my kids didn't get it, they couldn't give it to their kids. So
Right.
now we're 3 or 4 generations back where those kids aren't getting or didn't get those messages.
I think that, again, that goes back to the village.
Right.
There was a time where your next door neighbor was someone you respected. They would make sure you were in check. If your parent was at work, you wasn't gonna go too crazy because the neighbor was watching, right? If the teacher called home, the kid was automatically in trouble,
Right.
no matter what happened, because why are they called necessary? What do you think has changed from your viewpoint?
Right. Well, based on what Mr. Coleman is saying, is what I see is a standard that was set. A certain standard, a certain way of doing things, more so like our culture, the way it was. So you would get nice, you would make sure that you fly, you know, that you nice and neat, you well put together, because it was always a thing like, well, you never know who you're gonna meet. So you're always gonna be look your best, always. So that's a certain standard that we really had.
Yeah.
And now, like you're saying, you can go to the grocery store, everybody got bonnets on, they got slippers on, got pajama pants on. It's like a lack of care. But the lack of care is there because it wasn't a standard set in the household, obviously, you know. And so it's nothing to be accountable to.
Financial literacy won't just change how much money you have. It will change your life. No matter your age, background, or income, knowing where each dollar goes helps you prepare today's spending for tomorrow's goals. Financial health lets you plan for your future, build assets, and create a long-lasting legacy for your family. And when families thrive, neighborhoods and communities will grow even stronger. Start your financial health journey for free at www.southbendfec.org or by exploring nonprofit resources in your community. Contact the South Bend Financial Empowerment Center at www.southbendfec.org. Financial well-being is for everyone. Plan today, build tomorrow, and leave a legacy that lifts us all.
So, two things. One, to be parked for later if you guys decide to circle back. I do think poverty does play a role in where we are today, meaning intense enough poverty will cause a certain amount of desperation, and that desperation will cause you to not act in societal norms. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't blow by that as if poverty is not one of the reasons.
Well, can
we're
I
seeing-
push back on that?
You can, yeah.
I wasn't even blowing by it. I'm saying it's always been there. You feel like we're more impoverished now?
It's not about more. I'm just saying we can't act as if
Poverty
that's
don't play a part.
not a determiner of some of the behavior. When if you're born into abject poverty, you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. You don't know if you're going to have a roof to sleep on.
Right,
at
right,
night.
right.
You're probably not going to act the same way as I do,
Right.
who does know dinner is promptly at 5:30.
Right.
I got a bedroom, right?
Right.
And consequently, I got a mama and a daddy who
Right.
say to me, "This is how you greet another man. You look him in the eye.
Right.
You shake his hand with a firm grip, right?" But that person who don't know where food and shelter is coming
They ain't
from,
focusing on
I
that.
guarantee you, she not getting those lessons that
Right.
Lynn talked about being passed down.
See, that's what I'm pushing back against because I remember my grandmother coming over with a bucket of hot water because the height it wasn't on. I remember certain aspects of poverty and wearing pro rings from Payless and all.
Right.
I remember that, but I also remember my grandma being like, "You better speak when you walk through this door."
Right.
So that's why I'm asking you.
Right.
I get it, but where did that go?
Well, it makes sense, and please don't let me forget the point I wanted to make.
Where you got me
Well,
going.
then, I got,
Yeah.
that's why I said we could have got it on the back end, we get it on the
Right,
front
right,
end.
right.
Again, that's why I said intense poverty though,
Right.
Kelly, in the sense of like the poverty you just listed,
Right.
that was the same poverty I grew up in.
Right.
The issue was I didn't know I was poor.
Right.
It took me
Okay.
to get old enough to look back
To
and
realize
think,
that.
oh, we didn't
Yeah.
have no money.
Right.
That's why that government cheese was in our refrigerator,
Right.
because we was broke.
Right.
All I knew was it made a great grilled cheese sandwich. The fact that the government was getting it out never really came across my. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm talking about a different level of
Right.
poverty,
Right.
and you. Like I said, it has an effect. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
for sure.
it's the main reason. I'm not saying it's an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Our it's a factor for sure. If
Right.
the moral fiber that we've always known begins to break down, what do people who still remember those foundational things,
Right.
what can they do about that? And so
Right.
what I heard in what Lynn was saying is the foundations have been removed. A better way to put that though, especially because Lynn can look back further than all of us sitting at these chairs. You
Is
see
that
that?
a nice way
I was
of
gonna say you
calling
said
it?
nice way.
Nice way.
That nice way. I just you told Lynn.
And he wanted to set himself
Yeah.
apart.
But the point is, right? Feel me. Lynn probably saw a much more solid foundation than I saw at
Yeah.
55, right?
Right.
And I probably saw a stronger foundation than what you all in your 40s. Sorry to put y'all on blast.
Yeah, 'cause
Y'all might
we're
not want folks to know. So the bottom line is it's not a quick removal. It's
Right.
a degrading over time.
Right.
And I think about when you say village, etc.
Yeah.
You are right. I grew up in a time when if I was clowning outside,
Right.
my neighbor knew she could come and put hands on
Let me
me.
check you about
That
Yeah.
my mom would say thank you,
Yeah.
and now I'm getting my turn.
Right. For
Right.
Sure. For sure.
We don't
Right.
live there anymore,
Right.
right? But again, the question of why,
Yeah.
that I haven't come to terms with exactly.
Well, let me say this: when you think about poverty, I mean, it do develop a mindset, right? Because if you're dealing with somebody who is not eating at home at all, and you eating, I'm not in the mood to be speaking and saying all hi and being all jolly. No, I'm trying to figure out my next meal. So it does develop a mindset. It's a poverty-stricken mindset. So therefore, even when I walk in a place, I'm not focused on trying to speak to everybody. Say, hey, hi, how you doing? My stomach growling. I'm looking at how I'm about to eat, and then you develop a kill or be killed type of mentality, and then there goes a lot of spiral effect of a lot of different things.
But see, when you do that, you allow that to control you,
Right.
instead of you controlling it.
Right.
And when you guys talk about poverty, that's not something that just started happening
Absolutely.
in 2000 and later.
Yeah.
That's been, you know.
It's been there.
It's been there for, you know.
Right.
And we grew up in poverty.
Right,
You know,
for sure.
I remember the Salvation Army and, you know, the cheese and all of that kind. That doesn't keep you from saying, hi there, how you doing, man?
Right.
Thank you. I
Right.
appreciate, you know, I appreciate it.
Right.
Excuse me.
Right.
It doesn't stop you from being, you shouldn't allow that to keep you from being humane.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
respectful.
Absolutely.
Not only to somebody else, but you can't be nice to him if you're not nice to yourself.
Right.
And it starts with you. And if you talk either directly or indirectly, not to care,
Right.
not to respect,
Right.
not to, you can't give that to somebody else if you don't have it yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so it's important that we embed that
There you
into I don't care if you're not eating 3 meals a day, you can still teach your kid to be respectful.
Right. And I say this, being here at the Dream Center, we make sure that we like reiterate that now. As far as like kids walking in the gym, they're not speaking, not saying nothing, or nothing. It's like, oh no, come here, let me talk to you. Hey, what's up?
We have
How
to
you
do
doing?
it. You have to
So
do it.
that's like the change part of it, where we shifted it, and we continue to establish that foundation. And it's almost like we're re-establishing that foundation in the
You
youth
have to do it.
as the culture, as the standard to held accountable to. So no, we can't control what you do at home, but we can control how you operate here.
Yes, to what the both of you are saying. And for me, we live in a time where our people are so much more vocal, they're so much more upset with the systems that are around us, right? Because we feel like, oh, we're experiencing this violence, this entity put this and this and this into our communities, and I'm like, yes, but there's a part of it where the system worked to the point where you are now arbitrarily repeating what they're teaching you, right?
Right.
Which is why when we talk about our kids are on the phones all day, I had a Sega Genesis when we were young. Now this was back in the day. I had a computer, I had this, and it was before it was the culture to be on them all day.
Right.
But your parents wouldn't allow you to sit in front of a TV, to sit on, they wouldn't allow it. They'd be like, okay, and go outside now.
Right.
And now we live in a time where we are so fearful, where we teach our kids it's not safe outside, which is not realistic from the aspect of we do not live in a time where every time you step out of your door, you're in this immense amount of danger. Do we have a problem when it comes to gun violence in certain communities? Absolutely. But what is it that has taught us that that is totally what we live in? We no longer are outside. We no longer play with one another. We no longer know what it's like to go touch the grass, as some people would say.
Well, what is this? It's social media, though. You got to really take account of what social media is. Like everywhere they go, you see more violence, you see more negative things than you do positive. You know, so therefore that is control. And that's why the outcome looks like, well, that's what's all that's going on outside. And it's a beautiful thing to have like key components, like far as like the podcast. It's a live and free podcast. So it's not just GVI, it's not just what Mr. Coleman do, not just what you do, but it's all of its components, like a wraparound service. So even with the Dream Center, that's the reason why these things like this is in place to help out with the youth. You know, exactly why we got this show, exactly why we bringing Mr. Coleman on to even speak about what it is that you do, what you got.
What is it that's keeping us from being so much more? I just remember my people being on top of me like this. My guardian worked, like when I got out of school, they were going to work. So I was at school by myself, then I came home and I was by myself every day. Yet, I still followed the rules, because if I went outside, my neighbor was calling my uncle who was at work. And
So
he
you was
coming
held
home.
accountable.
Yeah, what,
Right.
so, okay.
You seen value in being accountable to your rules that
Well, I was
you
getting a whooping if
was
I
taught,
didn't.
you know? And
That's accountability.
it's accountability.
Right.
And so that's what's the shift and the change. You
Yeah.
know, because if you say, well, I'm gonna call you dad, I don't care, call him. So
They are
back
like
then,
that
you
now.
call them out. No, don't call them. Hold on, wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me change it. You know, it shifted. It changed. That's the difference.
The shifting in the parenting?
And the parenting as well, the values of what, a youth of today value, I say, what their values is.
So I wanna
What
talk
they hold as
solutions
important.
then.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanna talk solutions then.
That's
So
what
we
we're doing.
recognize what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
How are we shifting it?
One thought I had is a piece of information I heard recently, which is that as a race, humans have not evolved at all. Stay with me for a second. Technology continues to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
We're the same. And what he said was, we're still the same greedy, violent, selfish, all of those negative characteristics that we've been since the beginning. That hasn't changed. And what fools us into thinking we are better is the fact that technology has changed. And I'm throwing that out there. I realize I'm probably muddying the water a little bit because yes, social media has a negative impact, but I am reminded of the fact that I am an 80s baby and I came up with hip hop and everybody was saying that hip hop is making people go out and shoot people and da. So, and that was people who didn't live in hip hop. But when rock and roll came, rock and roll is the devil's music, right? So I just want to be careful. And eventually I will crank it down so as we don't end up in real complex conversations. But I just wanted to put that out there that each generation, as technology moves on, has a tendency to want to blame the technology, the advances on why the behavior has changed. And that's not a fact, but when I heard that, it resonated with me. I'm like, when you think about why are we still at war? Why is America always at war, right? Why are we always doing violence? So when we say they taught us, I think, especially in the Black community, we have a tendency to be like the white man, but it's bigger than the white man because when you talk about what they've seen, what's been brought before them as an example, at least for sure here in America, we promote violence. We want all the guns. In fact, we got all the guns. So again, I just want to be careful about trying to simplify what I think is a very complex problem, right? And I get it because we want to make the problem simple so that we can get a simple answer. I just don't think it's that easy. I used to work in juvenile corrections, and we had a training once, and the instructor informed us that as a child, when your brain is developing, the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that controls your emotions, your impulses, your decision making, right? Executive function, what I should be doing when, etc. When children are brought up in an environment where they don't feel secure, safe, and here's the important last one, loved.
Right.
The prefrontal cortex does not develop the way it should, right? And so that impulsive behavior we see in children with prefrontal cortexes that aren't developed, kids who were brought up in an environment where they were not where they didn't know they were loved properly, theirs don't develop. That's why at 16 you're still doing things that look irresponsible and not thought out, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? And so I think that is maybe a small portion of the answer of the why, because love has been removed from the home. And I think that goes back to our discussion about poverty, right?
Yeah.
When you hungry, it's hard to love on somebody. When you're desperate, et cetera, right? So I do think that's a big part of each generation that comes up, right? Because if nothing else, when we talk about the poverty, when Lynn talked about the poverty he came up with, I tell you what was not missing in that house that was poor. I was loved and I knew I was loved.
Right.
But see, we keep using excuses as to why we don't love each other. And we keep waiting on this big thing to fall out of the sky to cause it, and it's not. It's simple stuff.
Right.
Okay? First of all, I can't love you if I don't love me.
Right.
True.
Okay?
Right.
You can't give something that you don't have.
Right.
Okay? And until we begin to love one another as human beings.
Right.
Not black and white and
Right.
Asian and Hispanic, rich and poor and young and old, but when we begin to love one another, we fix it. When is the last time you intentionally went out and tried to hurt somebody that you loved?
Right.
And it's simple stuff.
Right.
Okay, it's not a big old manuscript, that you have to learn and read to be able to love somebody.
Right.
Good morning.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Excuse me, I apologize. Forgive me. Have a good day. Man, I like that jacket. Okay, when you begin to lift somebody up
Right.
and make them feel that they mean something, not only to somebody else but to themselves, they begin to live that. Okay, we keep talking about the new generation and the phones and iPads and what they get. That ain't where you get love from.
Right.
You get love from somebody in your life
Right.
that's willing to embrace you,
Right. Right.
and to make you feel
That's
like
why we
you're
here. Right.
You begin to get love when somebody corrects you
Right.
and challenges you when
Right.
you do something that you ain't got no business doing.
Right.
You show me somebody that will let you do what you want to, when you want to, how you want to, the way you show me somebody that'll let you do it. I'll show you somebody that don't care anything about you. But if he cares anything about you, when you do something you ain't got no business doing, he's gonna challenge you.
Right.
He's gonna correct you.
Right.
But then when you do something you're supposed to do, he's gonna embrace you. And that's where we begin to, and when we stop doing that, we create an environment. It doesn't matter if the environment is black or white,
Right.
we create an environment that causes people not to care. And when you don't care, you'll do anything. But it starts with you. To me, Michael Jackson said it best than anybody else.
Right.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his ways.
Right.
Yeah.
No message could have been any clearer.
Right.
I would say go ahead.
But we have to start looking at us,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure.
to be able to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right there.
And if we don't do that, okay, we get what we give. And so if we're not giving anything, we're not gonna get anything back.
Right.
And so that's what we're creating and developing that. And social media didn't do that. Okay.
It just
Right.
amplifies.
Well,
You know,
can I say something real
it-
quick? Because
Go ahead.
my bad. What you just said, right? I'm totally in agreement with it. That's the standard. You want to love. You love yourself. You love the next person. You spread love. Hey, how you doing? You show love and respect, because that's what you're being taught. We should be teaching that. That should be established, but that's not what's being taught to a kid that's grown up in an environment and seeing nothing but violence.
But it's
So-
not being taught because their parents wasn't taught that.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Because
So,
the
but hold on,
vi-
wait, look, I'm gonna take it back to this. Me
Okay.
personally, growing up in Gary, Indiana, before I moved here as a kid, that's all I seen was violence everywhere. I got love from my mom inside the household, but outside doesn't mirror that same love.
Right.
So I can't walk around thinking, hey, what's up? Hey, how y'all doing? No, you're gonna be fighting and doing all type of things in Gary, Indiana as a little kid. You seeing gun violence every single day. Gangs was heavy then. So it's a blessing that I even have the sense that I have now to this day, but I can sit here and name off 10 other people that I knew as a kid and they done died or they're in prison or in jail and they took on that mentality of the environment. So it's now when you look at fast forward to today with social media, that's what's raising kids more than anything.
That's right.
They're developing a mentality and a
And
mindset
it's
from what they're
amplified,
seeing.
right?
And I
so
agree.
that's the one point you
So
legitimize.
this is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna say this real
Expand.
quick. So you can sit back and watch the kids that come into the Kingston. You can see what's going on with them in their life. You sit down and talk to them, you will see what's guiding them. The artists of the day, the rap artists of the day, that's their influencers more than anything.
Yeah.
And like we talk about playing video games, they influencers on video games getting paid off of playing video games. So they all into this GTA, Grand Theft Auto, with stealing, robbing cars
That's right.
and making money doing all these different things. So when someone says, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, man, you should be spreading love, it doesn't register. It's like, man, anybody trying to hear that? Not saying that what you're saying is not right. All I'm saying is because we talking about what didn't happen, what's the shifting. The shifting is they desire and what they want to be like is on social media. Because this is what I'm seeing.
Can I add to that just briefly? I agree. I think that what we see, I don't think that it is new. It's not
Right.
a new concept.
But the new thing
It's
is the
just
social
it's
media.
the
that's
social
new.
media, right? So I agree that we emulate what we see, because GTA ain't new. I had it when I was a kid. Okay, road rash, where you actually had a chain and you was knocking people off their bike, right?
Right.
I remember those things, right?
Yeah,
and I did
I forgot
not,
about that one.
yeah,
Yeah, I forgot
and
about
I didn't come up with a silver spoon in my mouth either. That's not to say that I'm saying that I know what someone else is going through. I am just saying, okay, but I also had the ability to go to the center when I was young, and Mo was there,
Right.
and I went to the Charles Black Center,
Right.
which I can't even remember what it was called before that.
So South Center.
Right? I was a part of Jan Marable. Like I can name
Mm-hmm.
people though.
Yeah.
Like none of those people had any idea what was going on in my home, or maybe they guessed. I don't know, but I am saying there were people
Mm-hmm.
that were providing just something different
Right. Like
for
do,
me
like we
to
do
experience.
today. Yeah.
So when
Like
you
we do here
say,
today.
when you say it's like, oh, it's not not important, but when you say like that we're not thinking about A, B, C, D, F, G, when it comes to us living in poverty or living in a horrible situation, I'm like, Dad, but I remember the love that I got outside.
Right.
I do, and it impacted me enough. I know that we may not be able to make it happen for everybody, but
Right.
that used to be important. Do you feel like it's not as
And
important?
you said it used to be.
That's what I'm saying.
Now-
Is it
now,
not?
Is it not used to be important? It's important now.
Yes, absolutely. It's important now.
It's even more important now
It's
that
more
we
important.
love one another.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we
And
need
if,
that.
if we don't love one another,
Mhm.
you know, we say that whatever happens to you, how it doesn't matter. The hell with you.
Yeah.
Excuse my,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I don't care about you.
Right.
You know, but
Right.
when we begin to love one another,
Mm-hmm.
we show that we care.
Right.
Okay, and even if they don't get it right now, you just talked about remembering when you were how people loved you back. You know, even if they don't get it at that time, and they don't get it until years later, they still get. You still planted the seed.
Yes,
But if you
absolutely.
don't
You gotta
plant
plant
the
the
seed,
seed.
they will never get it.
Right.
Okay, and if they don't ever get it, 20 years from now, somebody will be sitting in a place like this, and they won't even be sitting here. Somebody will be over there and over there, you know, and they'll be talking about how they didn't get it when they were a kid. We have to give it to them.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
if we don't give it, okay, we can't expect them to do any better.
Right.
What would be your final thought based on what we talked about today when it comes to love, village, putting the neighbor back in the hood? Shouts to Teray Washington. And staying alive and free. What would be your message today in closing for the people?
Message today in closing for the people. As far as everything we talked about.
Yeah.
It's to show more love. It's important. And first, like we said, you know, you got to show more love to self. And you got to love self first and understand the love that you have for self. In order to do that, you got to respect yourself. And, you know, in order to do that, you got to change the things that, you know, change the way we see the world, change the way we see things, and change the outcome of basically like, I use it for me example again. Based on what I seen growing up, I'm not allowing that to control me.
Yeah.
I'm controlling it.
Yeah.
As far as it's a part of my lineage, part of my story, part of my history, part of my legacy, part of everything. It's a part of my story of my life. But it's not controlling me, I'm controlling it. As far as I'm extracting the educational points from it, learning from it, growing from it, and now establishing a way that I can show love to my community, a way that I can inspire and motivate and grab somebody by the arm and tell them, nah, leave that alone, let's go this way. Let me show you something different. Let me try to paint a better picture for you to see yourself at, when you look in the mirror, you can love that person you can see. So it's more gaining more identity about yourself and starting there. Boom. That's what I got to say.
Oh, that's right. Come on, Minister Mallory.
I'm of the mind that you can't know how to love unless you've first been loved. I don't think love is just something sitting dormant in all of us. I think you have to be shown love.
Right.
And so to put a bow on that, I would say, like Steve Harvey has said in the past, show some love. Go out and love on somebody. I think that's what Lynn was saying to an extent, right?
Right.
That, and even going back to what I said about the PFC, right? The other thing that instructor, the prefrontal cortex, sorry.
And we will close with you. So I will say for me, my closing statement today would be a combination of what Jason and Malcolm said. I would agree 1,000%. I will say that for me, growing up in an environment where I didn't feel the love and the things that I saw, it was very important for me to be and experience something totally different. I didn't want to be like, you know, certain people. I didn't want to live in certain circumstances. I was like, nah, this ain't for me, right? And so the things that I do now in the community are a direct result of things that did not happen in my life as a young person. And so I think that when I give to someone, it legitimately makes me feel better. When I go and I compliment or I'm kind or I'm smiling, even if it's not how I feel inside, which is why I get a little bit flustered when other people are nasty. I'm like, y'all don't know what's going on in here. I'm giving you what I don't have and didn't get.
Absolutely.
Just because it literally boosts me. So I would say if you're having a hard time with that, it feels so much better to give love than to give what you actually are feeling. That's what I would say.
Right, that's
And,
good.
and look where you are now.
Right.
And to use Jason's word, you changed
Yeah.
from what you've seen and what you were given as a kid to what you are now. And because of the change, look where you are now.
Yeah.
And who would have thought when you were that you would be here, and not just in this physical space, but where you are in life.
Right.
You just talked about being part of a group that's going to take 42 kids
Yeah.
to Florida. What an experience,
Yeah.
okay?
Right.
And who would have thought you would have been doing that, you
Right.
know, 20 years? And so, you know, you made the change.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole concept of let's turn it around is. And for those of you that might not know, let's turn it around is an image of a backwards heart that's broken, okay? And if you take that image and turn it around, it
Right.
forms a heart. The
Absolutely.
heart represents love.
Absolutely.
And when we begin to love one another as human beings,
Yes.
as God told us to do, love ye one another as I have loved you.
Right.
When we begin to do that, we
Yeah.
fix stuff.
Yes.
Now, is it going to happen overnight? Absolutely. It didn't break overnight.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to fix overnight.
Mhm.
But if you do it and you're intentional about
Right.
it, and Malcolm mentioned being we have to be intentional about doing that. And even if we didn't get it when we were a kid, that means that we can't do it now. Okay.
Got
And what you give to somebody else can be monument, and you never know. The mere fact of you going out, extending yourself to someone today, what that might do in
Right.
changing
You're
their
right.
life,
Absolutely.
okay, 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Right.
But if we don't do it, we know what's gonna happen.
Right.
It's important for all of us, not only sitting here at this table, but for those that are listening to us or hearing us, to make sure that you're intentional every single day
Right.
of trying to make somebody else's life a little bit better. If they don't get it, okay.
Right.
But at least you can say that you've done your
You did
part
your
to
part.
try to make it happen.
Right,
okay?
you did your part.
And it starts right here.
Change.
Okay?
Yeah.
If I don't do it to
Yeah.
try to help somebody else, shame on me.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
It starts right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Michael Jackson, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Okay? And that's where it starts at.
I heard it.
Yeah.
You hear the music,
You hear it.
right? They cueing us out.
Yeah.
And so let's turn it around so we can stay alive and free.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next time so we can have more conversation.
Absolutely.
Peace
All
out.
right.
Yeah, the real is back. I know you feel it. I'm alive and I'm free, man.